She just was all about shaking her head. Got a very good face.
Reason was that was designed to evoke laughter was not.
Happy birthday month. I mean, it's good.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Everything ready? All right. Well, good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock, Thursday, March 6th, 2025. I will now call this meeting of the Board of Harbor Commissioners for the Town of LaPointe to order. With us this morning, we have Jay Wiltz,
Here.
Susan Widmar,
Here.
Michael Collins,
Here.
myself, Glenn Carlson.
Here.
Evan Erickson is with us via Zoom. Staff present, we have Katie Kisner and Lauren Berteau. And for the public, we have Max Immelt, Town Administrator, Charlie Brummer, and John Carlson.
Robin's here.
Oh, and Robin is with us also via Zoom. Thank you. I guess this time I'll open the floor to public comment. Okay. Well, hearing no public comment, let's move on then to the minutes of the February 27th meeting. I will move that we place the minutes from the 2/27/25 meeting on file.
A second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, Chief Administrative Officer's report.
So the current balances of the Harbor Commission bank accounts, this is as of Tuesday, March 4th. The Mifflin utility checking account was at $144,378.92. Mifflin's February revenue, just this is not including parcel hauling or the mail contracts, was just over 86,000, which was about 90% of the budgeted income for the month. I did review January expenses with Mifflin so that they understood how we had it categorized in our QuickBooks and where we were.
Yep.
Which line items of the budget we were placing things. I feel like it was a productive conversation and I do like going through and going over any areas that we have exceeded our budgeted expenses for the month. Robin did include a vehicle damage report for one of the expensive reimbursements that is in this file right here. That was requested last week. And then Cal also provided basically the reasoning behind the purchase of the hose crimper tool. That was also reported in these January expenses.
Evan was asking about.
Yes.
Yes, and Cal just joined us actually. I did email him yesterday asking if he kind of had my question to him was the estimated cost of using the outside contractor, that $20,000 to $30,000 estimate, was that based on previous hose replacements? Or was that like a new quote? Which I believe he might have an answer for us today.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, something's going on with my video here. It's starting and stopping. But if you can hear me, then I'll go. So the question is, I can pull it up to make sure I got it right here. Okay, the 20 to 30,000 cost estimate per boat. So that was an estimate that was ultimately from when I was generating this this report before the Harbor Commission purchased the ferry line. So that was, you know, what, about 2 years ago now, somewhere in there, a year and a half ago, when I created the 9-year kind of maintenance plan. At that time, it was said that we should anticipate 20,000 or more for the most expensive boat, just based off of talking on the phone with our hydraulic specialist. The most recent quote that I've received for the Bayfield, which is kind of in the middle of complexity of all of our boats, the LaPointe being the most complex, came in at 18,000. So, I have a quote, but ultimately we're not going that direction, just because makes a lot more sense for us to do it in-house for less, and then as well, being able to do it in an emergency, which they wouldn't be able to accommodate for us.
Questions for Cal on that? Okay, thanks, Cal.
Thank you.
Can you remind me what the cost of the custom tool is, the specialized tool?
I think it was about 15,000.
I think it was 12 or 13,000 that Evan had.
Yeah.
He spotted it on the.
Yeah, that first top, it's on one of the yellow sheets.
Oh, there you go.
If I may, the tool itself was 5,000.
12,400, yeah. Okay, thank you.
What's the balance for?
And the rest is inventory, fittings and hoses, or?
Yeah, the risk is to get started on the first boat. Yep. So that's all the hoses and fittings and everything to get started on the first boat. But to stay on track, we should really try and get 2 boats done this year, because this was one of the items we did not get done last year.
And then the last thing on my report is, we should be making transfers to our debt service fund savings account for the payment for the revenue bond loan payment that will be due December 1st. Basically, we put one lump sum for another loan in that account at the end of last year. For this loan payment, we're supposed to be making, transferring
Regular.
amounts to this debt service savings account. I am waiting to hear back from Rick about, because it doesn't state if that should be equal amounts per month throughout the year. He is supposed to be contacting me Monday. If we were to do equal payments each month throughout the year, it would be just under $38,000 per month into this account.
Is there any logic, I can imagine some logic in saying, let's not do it that way. Our cash flow doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we would be able to put more away
Yeah.
in the summer months. So that's my question for him. I was hoping to have heard back from him, but he's out of the country. He did message me. He'll be calling me on Monday to discuss that. I just wanted to keep that on the radar, because if it is if it is supposed to be monthly equal payments, then we will need to put just over 113,000 into that account. That will be January through March. And I don't have this on my report, but confirming with Michael Collins and Susie, the marketing and communications committee will be rep points for Miffle, just as far as the tariff increases go.
Just bullet points.
Just bullet.
Yeah. And I'll provide that to them as soon as it's ready.
Thanks, Katie. Anything else? I will move then that we place the Chief Administrative Officer's report on file.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, update on ferry operations.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's coming from me.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay. So as we speak right now, we've been working on this morning here. We do have open water in front of the dock. It's not really a significant amount of our trail by any means, but it is open water. So we are going to try today and just see how it goes. I've got the Island Queen behind me right now. Sorry, my video isn't working for some reason, but we've got the Island Queen just about to depart. We've busted up the harbor with the niche, so that it's, easy for it to spin around, and we're going to see how it goes. So that's really where it could be a 6-hour day. I feel like if it's shaping up to be over a 6-hour day, trying to break a trail, that we will, if we're pushing the boat too hard, we'll wait till Monday, just because Monday is going to have some really warm temps. Some forecasts I saw were saying in the 50s. So there's really just, if the wind sled is staying above the ice, which it is, it's not breaking through. There's really not a great, because we've had issues in the past, even breaking the ice when it is breaking through. So I don't want to push it too hard just because we see open water and, potentially, offline a boat because of that. So we're just going to see how it goes today. And if we are unsuccessful today, we're going to give another attempt on Monday.
Makes sense. I mean, I think we all have an appreciation now that to buy a few days, to wait a few days and avoid flogging some old boats more than they need to be, is something, if that's what has to happen and we start Monday, I don't think that's the end of the world. And if it saves the boats some real rough treatment.
I think it'll be much easier.
And if it is easy today, we'll make it through, so
No, I get it.
we're letting the boat decide ultimately.
You want to do that?
Yeah. Evan says that when they took the trees down on Tuesday, he put the chainsaw in the ice and there was about 18 inches of solid ice.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we run into that, we're going to run into it really quick, and, we're just going to turn the boat around.
Yeah, the ice is newer on the inside of the ferry track, like the south side.
Yeah.
In your experience, is it easier to break through harder, like colder, more brittle ice, or softer? Assuming it's the same thickness.
Literally, the more that you can soften the ice and weaken the ice, the easier it is. So, but there's all sorts of things that play into that, right? So typically handled ice is easier to break. The thinner the solid ice, the easier it is to break. And handled ice almost just doesn't count for anything. So if you've got 10 inches of ice, you've got 5 inches handled, it's really 5 inches of ice. Even though it looks like if you drilled a hole, it'd be, 10 inches of ice. But one of the things that can really hurt us, this is kind of a crazy ice breaking thing, is just friction. And so the more friction that is present, the significantly harder to break ice. So with the sticky snow, that actually makes the ice harder for us to break, from the sense of it's generating a ton of friction on the hull. And I mean, there's some pros. It weighs down the ice, so it's kind of pushing the ice down for us a little bit before we get started. But there's all of these things that it's like, there's 30 different types of snow, that you can have. You can have, heavy snow, light fluffy snow, big flakes. It's the same with ice, and it really just kind of comes down to what are the conditions on that day. But from our standpoint, the more that you can let it candle, the more time that you can let it sit in the exposed sun, the thinner that the solid ice gets, the better it is for us. But friction does play a huge role, and some actual modern large icebreakers, in order to reduce the friction to break more ice, they don't increase the horsepower. They actually put a bubbler system underneath the bow, which puts air up alongside the ice when it's being broken. And that air acts as a friction modifier. It reduces the friction and it allows a massive increase in ice breaking potential. So just to kind of show as an example that there's a lot of little variables that can add up to change the outcome of, you know, how much ice can we break on any given day.
Good.
Anything else for Cal, or do you have anything else? Cal?
No, just that, yeah, we're close. We're getting there. And we'll be back to the boat soon. But, you know, as was stated, yeah, we're definitely not going to try and, you know, push it to the breaking point if the, you know, the wind sled is still able to stay on top of the ice.
All right, let's move on then to the Harbor Assistant Program grant update.
I don't have anything. Cal and I haven't met yet. We kind of were waiting for the boats to start running again.
Okay.
To meet. So maybe next week.
All right. So let's move on then to agenda item 8, consideration of a short-term loan from the town.
So I asked Katie to prepare a cash flow through July to see how much of a deficit, particularly with the funding of the state's share
Yeah.
of the Harbor Assistance Grant. It's not as bad as I had thought, but it looks like we'll probably need about 900,000 for 2 months. And then probably 300,000 for another 2 months. And not, in other words,
Not sequentially.
and I don't have the months right in front, but let's say April and May, we'll need that 900,000. We'll be able to pay down like 700,000 of it in June. And then in July, obviously, it'll get paid off.
So these are, I think that this is a very short-term loan,
Yes.
like 60 to 90 days.
Well, 60 days on the 900 and then 60 days
Days on
on the 200 or 300.
Okay. 2 months. Roughly.
Yeah, and we're in the process still of lining up the finance. The town's in the process of lining up the financing, and Bremer's one of the folks that we need to talk to and nail down. But we're also in discussion with the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands.
Great.
And they had actually talked, I think Max talked to the fellow at the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands, and he indicated that they might prefer separating out as a separate loan, the loan for the financing of the dock project.
Is that 800,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, that might actually work out because, you know, I had talked to Bremer, 2 months ago, just for the town's capital projects.
Cost of money is a bit more.
It's going up and down, but so they've been working on a $550,000 potential loan. And frankly, if we did the 800 at the Board of Commissioners, I don't know if, depending on what interest rate the Bremer is going to give us versus the Board of Commissioners, we either stay with Bremer for the 550 or, we talk to the Board of Commissioners about, adding a separate loan for 550 for the town. So
it's all about rate and making that decision.
in terms, I mean, the thing with the Board of Commissioners is they have there's no prepayment penalty whatsoever. And, basically if their rate went down, you could just basically turn around and have them refinance the rate of the loan at a new rate.
Evan has a question. Is there a chance that the HAP money could be cut and we won't get reimbursement?
You know, in this day and age, you know, I think probably anything is possible. I have been told, and Cal's been told, that this money already is in the state's coffers, in the state of Wisconsin's coffers. So I would think it would be pretty hard to retrieve that money. But again, you know, you never know. And if that were to be the case, you know, I mean, it's a project that needs to be done. And, you know, last resort, you know, we might have to go to the taxpayers if that were to happen. Don't want it, but it's kind of out of our control.
Where the courts are on our side.
And Glenn, if I may,
Yeah, please.
one thing that, you know, we're going to do as well is the goal here is to get the first invoice out as soon as possible. And, you know, for the engineering and for the ramp sections, which is the about 150,000, and get that submitted to the state as soon as possible so that they can start the process. And, you know, before we even commit to, you know, laying the first sheet piling, we'll have a pretty good understanding of, you know, what the turnaround time is and how that is going.
Thank you, Cal.
Yeah, wasn't there an expectation that the turnaround time was around 30 days?
That is what the state has told me. Mike Halstead has said that, you know, when we invoice, we should expect to be reimbursed within 30 days. But as Glenn has said, you know, that can be wishful thinking sometimes. You know, our strategy at the moment is to, you know, assume greater. And then also the information I've been told is the first reimbursement tends to be the longest to get delivered.
That makes sense.
And we can only submit for one a month.
And then I'd imagine that engineering work will have to be completed prior to it being able to put out for bids?
Correct. The engineering work will ultimately be what we then use to get the bids for the construction work. As much as we've done this, you know, several times before, you know, we ultimately know what we're doing. That's how we were able to price it out. We still need the engineer drawings for this particular project to then give to the bidders to say, you know, build this a spec based off of this. And the state also needs to see, you know, that we're using engineer drawings as well.
And I should add that when I did the cash flow, when Katie and I did the cash flow, we assumed a 60-day turnaround on the invoice.
Oh, that's smart.
So trying to be somewhat conservative, hopefully. I don't know, do we need to, I mean, we don't have an imminent need right today for this cash, but maybe on the next agenda, we can actually, you know,
Take
have
an action.
members to approve.
Yeah.
If no one has anything further for the Harbor Assistance Program update, let's move on then to the consideration. Oh, that was a consideration, never mind. Review and approval of submission for the 2025 tariffs.
Didn't we approve?
I wanted to include just the form that we were gonna submit to the.
Oh, this is form and substance. That's nice.
I do have one change in that case, Lauren, to the letter. In the third paragraph. I think the second sentence would be better to be, the increase is to provide for the town of LaPointe and the LaPointe Harbor Commission be able to service their debts that were taken instead of to certify.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't think we need to take any action. So if there's nothing else, we'd move on to review of the Mithil Management Agreement.
Can we make a motion to put
Contract?
that towards the end?
Sure. Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to put the review of the management contract if we want to do it at the end of the agenda so that
right after
Public
public.
comment. After public, yeah, that would be.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approval of bills. We have $284 bill to Baker Tilly for Progress Harbor Commission audit. And then we have Bremer Bank fees, Miffle LLC expense reimbursement, and Town of LaPointe Horton Group payment totaling $101,270.97. And I will move that we approve the bills.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, Evan has something up there. After watching the board meeting on Tuesday, I'd like to state to the public that there's been a lot of working going towards figuring out what rates need to be in order to pay for the maintenance that Cal has stated that is necessary to keep the boats running. Thanks, Evan. Future agenda items?
Right now,
Do we want to review and approve any of the
Talking point.
talking points?
Yeah. do that. But generally, these things are best done not by committee, but
That's it.
Be better to. get up next.
and give it.
Yeah.
So to clarify, you want it as an agenda item or
No,
not?
For next time?
I don't think we need to, unless you want to.
Well, I just think if we can get something pulled together before next week.
Then the answer is yes.
Meeting dates?
Next Thursday is the 13th, following Thursday is the 20th. It's on a different day.
Just
We've talked among ourselves about, that dream that we would be able to reduce the amount of meetings, to like once a month. At which point we would find ourselves doing these meetings later.
My question would be, are we going to be prepared to meet next week? To take care of the tasks at hand?
And coupled with the fact there's nothing much urgent immediately coming up, so. I'm
Should we-
kicking it back 1 week if we can.
The 20.
Or
20th? Thursday the 20th?
Yeah, our dream of having work reduced to allow us to have monthly meetings hasn't quite come true yet, but we're hoping for that. I put that for the record. That's
And so the 20th, do you want to do at 9 AM or?
9.
All right, now let's open the floor to public comment B. Take it away.
First off, on the tariffs, I didn't see anything about use of the freezer truck. And the employee that would be driving the freezer truck. Because that would be a cost to whoever's going to use it.
I believe there's a rate in there.
I didn't see it, but I'm just bringing that up. I kind of looked through here. And there should be a rate, I believe, for the freezer truck. And since a ferry line employee has to drive the freezer truck and wait for the material to be unloaded, there should be a tariff for that. And I think that's you guys.
Yeah, we did.
Talk to yourself about that later.
Yeah, we did.
Great.
There is a crew, an hourly charge of, I think it's $135 an hour So that would be,
That's the special.
I think that's for this type of thing as well.
Just.
Yeah, I think the crew charge is like the crew charge.
And
Okay,
then
this is
also-
Robin. This is Robin. There is no charge for the use of the refrigerated truck or the space that it takes up on the ferry. There's just $135 for crew hour, but in reality, it takes sometimes 2 to 3 hours to do that. You have to wait for the driver to show up in Bayfield. You have to unload it. You have to get it on the next available boat. Come over here, wait till it's unloaded and get it back to Bayfield.
I thought we had one in there for that truck specifically. I know we were looking at it.
There's a rate in there for trucks of various sizes. But this is, I mean, if it's the Harbor Commission's will that we charge the business that uses the truck for that size of truck round trip, that we would need instruction on that.
And Robin, would that have to be part of the Railroad Commission tariff, or is that something that can be done separately?
Well, it would be the same charge as the Railroad Commission. It's just that, just hold on. Hale, how long was that truck? Is that 30 feet?
Trying to do it from memory here. Let's see, I actually have it in my desk. I'm sorry.
A 25,
It's 26.
a 30 to 35 foot truck is, $75 each way.
I believe it's less than that. I think it's around 25 feet, 26 feet.
Okay, 25 to 30 foot truck is $62 one way. So that'd be 124.
We've got the size of the truck in there. If it doesn't need to be specifically written into the tariff, then I think we can revisit this in a separate agenda.
That's something to talk about.
Mhm.
We haven't decided.
Yep. Anything else, John?
Yeah. Last meeting I saw, you guys were gonna be giving the school kids a incentive, $50 at the end of the year to bring the kegs or whatever. And then you also are giving the teachers who go across the middle of Island free ferry passage, I believe. Is there a way that we are recouping that, or are we just writing that off as a loss? Because if you figure it out at you got a mag card, $80 a trip, it's $2,592 per teacher. You figure it out at the new tariffs at $21, it's $3,402 per teacher per year that we are giving away. As you guys are looking for revenue, what are we doing here? Because when you come to the town people to say we need to raise your taxes, first thing I'm gonna do is let everybody know you're giving away money. So are we giving away money or are we making money? And my third point is that the last meeting, you guys were blasting Cal for maintaining the boats. Because we're spending money. Okay? Cal asked, I believe 2 or 3 times, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
There was no direction from this harbor commission to tell him what to do. Do you want him to stop? Do you want him to keep going? Nothing. You guys are in charge of those guys. When you're sitting there and he's asking you what to do. Okay.
Thanks, John. Go ahead, Max.
With respect to the cash flow analysis and the possibility of short-term loan from the town, is this analysis an anomaly, given either because you're kind of close to starting up or your maintenance, or is this something that would be expected to recur every year in terms of cash?
Until we have a cash flow surplus where we can prepare for something like that, then it can be expected that we would have to insert money at the beginning of the year until we get revenue in the summer. would be my guess.
Yeah, the Ayler study actually did provide that that line of credit that will be necessary during the slow period would diminish over time and, within 3 or 4 years, go away altogether.
Is there any other public comment? Then let's revisit the review of the Mifflin management contract. Don't need- All right, I will move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 9:34.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.